Talking about Michael, this is a look at some of the wind gusts reported as the storm was making landfall. Tyndall Air Force Base, gusts of 129 miles an hour. Panama City, 107. Now, that was just one of the spots, but I truly believe tomorrow, ground zero, in a sense, will be from Mexico City, or rather, we've said that earlier on today, Mexico Beach, back to areas around Panama City, where they will have that 10-mile stretch is where I think most of the damage is going to be. They were in the eye wall for a long time. Port St. Joe, winds of 106, Apalachicola at 89. So here is the latest, winds of 75 miles an hour. It really is amazing that 10 hours ago, this was one of the strongest hurricanes ever to hit the U.S. The strongest ever was the 1935 Keys hurricane. Second was Camille, 1969 in Biloxi, Mississippi. And third most powerful ever is Michael. So this is now a storm, a name that will be retired, that we'll never have to hear about again in terms of new storms, but it's going to be up there with Katrina and Andrew, even stronger than those two storms. And just 5 days ago, it didn't even exist. That's what those warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico can do in the month of October. Just devastating across the Panhandle. Central Georgia had a major hurricane earlier on today. It is now quickly weakening. It'll be a tropical storm shortly tomorrow morning, moving into the Carolinas. And because it will be such a quick moving system, at least one bit of good news, it will not be a major flooding issue for the Carolinas. But as I said, as we tracked this over the last couple of days, it became pretty clear that Michael was going to continue to strengthen. But truthfully, while it wasn't quite Cat 5 when it made landfall, recon did find some winds up to about 160 miles an hour. So there's a chance that the Hurricane Center could actually even go back and bump it up a little bit. But regardless, it's kind of a moot point. When we look at the damage that these winds caused, this is really unlike anything we have ever seen. I looked at the damage and it reminded me of Homestead with Andrew, where it just came in a small area, just absolutely devastated, and then a larger area with less wind like we had from Tallahassee and areas off to the north. And there's still some very heavy rain and wind across sections of Georgia as it continues to move into the Carolinas. But I'll tell you what, folks, overnight, we're going to continue to see some bands come through. You know, we had a waterspout reported this evening. We had a tornado warning in Manatee County. We had winds of 40 to 50 miles an hour in Citrus County and 50 to 60 in Levy County up to the north. So there's still some energy there, and I do think tomorrow morning we'll wake up to some gusty winds at times, but otherwise things should be improving. Low 80s right now across the area. Tampa, partly cloudy, 82, 81 in Clearwater, St. Pete in the lower 80s. We have got some changes in store for our weather, even more so after these rains and what's left of Michael move off to the north. So there you see it in the latest satellite picture. The bands continue to come in. We've had some heavy areas. It doesn't look very impressive, but I'm telling you, there's still some wind out there, and that's going to continue right on through the overnight. Tomorrow morning, come wake-up time, partly cloudy skies, some isolated showers, maybe, as I said, maybe a gusty area with these bands as they come through. But watch what happens in the afternoon. The moisture begins to go down to the south, and we get some drier air coming in from the north. And this is going to be a big change to our weather for the weekend. We're going to go from temperatures in the 70s and 80s in the morning to morning lows in the 60s on Saturday and Sunday. So big changes ahead. In fact, there it is. Look at the long range, the 10-day forecast. Look at the highs toward the middle to the end of October, back down to normal, 85, 86. So very often what happens when a major tropical system comes through, it brings some drier air back behind it. And there's plenty of cold air out there. I know a lot of folks in the Bay Area have been longing for some cooler temperatures. This cold stuff doesn't make it, obviously, but you're going to notice the changes on Saturday and Sunday morning with temperatures cooling off into the 60s across most of the area. The afternoons will still be warm, but the mornings will be very, very pleasant. So there's your hour-by-hour forecast. We still can't write off some showers and a storm overnight and right on through tomorrow, but finally as Michael pushes away, takes the moisture with it, that's when our weather really begins to improve. So here's a look at Florida's most accurate 7-day forecast. Rain chances still 60% on Thursday. Friday, that drier air comes in. I'm not going to completely rule out rain chances, but it'll be pretty close. But look at Saturday and look at Sunday, especially in the mornings. Waking up to 60s across the area, low 70s along the beach. It's still going to be warm in the afternoon, and the upper 80s till near 90 degrees, and I think it stays in that ballpark through the early part of next week. Wendy?